Welcome to Bodhi Unified Flow. Today, we are diving deep into what many in the lean world call the most dangerous of all wastes, overproduction. Now, it sounds simple, right? Just making too much too soon. But as you're about to see, the ripple effects are absolutely massive.
So, here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll start by figuring out why overproduction is called the root of all waste. Then we'll dig into its hidden costs in the big push versus pull debate. We'll even look at a fascinating challenge from the world of construction before giving you a hands-on toolkit to fight back and ultimately achieve a state of perfect flow.
And our goal for you is pretty straightforward. By the time we're done, you won't just know what overproduction is, you'll see it everywhere, and you'll have a real strategic framework to start eliminating it in your own world. So, let's get into it.
Okay, let's jump right in. Section 1, the root of all waste. You know, out of all the 8 wastes, why does this one get the top billing? Why is it considered the most critical one to go after first?
Well, this quote from Taiichi Ohno, the genius behind the Toyota production system, just nails it. He called it the most dangerous waste for a very specific reason. It's not just a waste on its own, it's a waste generator. It literally creates almost every other problem in the system.
So, let's be crystal clear on what we're talking about. Overproduction is simply making too much, too soon, or too fast. It's any work you do that isn't directly responding to a real, immediate customer need. It's that whole just-in-case way of thinking. And believe me, it's a trap.
All right, moving on. The real problem with overproduction isn't just the act of making something you don't need yet. The true danger is the destructive chain reaction that kicks off through your entire process. Let's really unpack that.
This is what I like to call the caterpillar effect. It perfectly shows the dominoes falling. Just follow the logic. It all starts with number 1, overproduction. You make a huge batch. Bam. That immediately creates number 2, massive amounts of inventory. All that stuff has to be stored and moved, which is number 3, transportation waste. And with all that clutter, people end up number 4, waiting, because the one part they actually need is buried under a mountain of stuff they don't. And the scariest one? Number 5, defects. Imagine finding a flaw after you've already made thousands of them. It's a nightmare of inefficiency. And hey, don't think for a second this is just a factory floor problem. Overproduction is a sneaky thing. It shows up everywhere. In software, it's building shiny features nobody ever asked for. In an office, it's that report you spend hours on that nobody ever reads. Even in healthcare, it's ordering tests just in case. The name changes, but the waste is exactly the same. So what's the real-world impact of all this? What's the bottom line? Well, it is staggering. For just a medium-sized company, the cost of storing, moving, managing, and fixing all that just-in-case stuff can easily run into the hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars every single year.
So you have to ask, where does this waste even come from? Well, at its core, it's born from a fundamental choice between 2 totally opposite ways of thinking. It's a real philosophical battle, the push system versus the pull system.
And this lays out the conflict perfectly. On one side, you've got the traditional push system. Think old-school manufacturing. It's all about forecasting demand, basically guessing, and then pushing products out the door to keep machines busy, whether anyone wants them yet or not. But on the other side, you have the lean pull system. And here, nothing gets made, nothing, until a real customer order comes in and pulls it through the system. The goal isn't to be busy, the goal is to create perfect waste-free flow.
So how do you get there? How do you make that switch? Well, the ultimate goal of lean is to get your process so lean, so fast, so flexible that you only start building after you get the order. Think about that. When your production time is shorter than your customer's acceptable waiting time, you've completely eliminated the need for overproduction. You've achieved a true pull system.
Now, we've made a really strong case that overproduction is the mother of all wastes. But what happens when the context is completely different? Let's take a look at the very unique world of construction.
And this question is so important. It forces us to think critically. See, lean isn't about just blindly following a set of rules. It's about understanding the principles and applying them smartly to your specific situation. So, is overproduction first always the right answer?
Think about it. You don't see construction companies building skyscrapers just in case someone wants one, right? The demand is perfectly clear from day one. In that world, the problem isn't making too much. In fact, projects are famous for being late, not early. The challenges are completely different. So in construction, many experts argue that the number 1 waste is something else entirely.
They call it making do. This is the waste of starting a job before you have everything you need: the right materials, the right plans, the right equipment. It leads to shortcuts, rework, endless delays, and huge quality problems. It's a great reminder to always look at your own value stream with fresh eyes.
So, whether overproduction is your #1 villain or a close second, the big question is the same. What do we do about it? How do we fight back? Let's open up the toolkit.
Okay, first things first. Tools are useless without people. Shifting from a push culture to a pull culture is a huge change. A model like ADGAR here gives you a roadmap for the human side of things. You start by building awareness of how bad the problem is. Then you create the desire to change by involving people. Then you give them the knowledge and the ability to work in the new way. And finally, you have to reinforce the new habits to make sure they stick.
Now let's talk about the technical tools. You have your foundational stuff like Gemba Walks and 5S, which help you see the waste in the first place. Then you have the core pull tools like Kanban, which is basically a signaling system. You've got analytical tools like TackTime to perfectly match your pace to customer demand. And today, we're even supercharging these with things like AI and digital twins to simulate and perfect the flow before we even change anything in the real world.
Okay, let's bring it all home. We've defined the problem, we've looked at the damage it causes, and we've explored the solutions. It's time to tie it all together.
So, what are the big things to remember? #1, overproduction is usually the root of all evil because it creates all the other wastes. #2, the antidote is a fundamental shift in thinking from push to pull. But #3, always check your context. What's true in a factory might not be true on a construction site. And finally, remember that this isn't just about tools, it's about people and culture. And with that, we've covered the what, the why, and the how. You are now officially equipped to see, to understand, and to start tackling this most dangerous of wastes. So I'm going to leave you with one final thought, a question to take back to your own workplace. Look around with these new eyes and ask yourself, what are we making just in case? And what deeper problems, like poor quality or unreliable machines, is all that extra stuff allowing us to ignore? For any of you who want to go even deeper, the key sources we used for this explainer are right here. Thank you so much for joining us at Bodhi Unified Flow.